Hi there, I'm Jeanette, stampingwithsafiandme.com, and I've got another little project for you, and it is some more gift tags. It's this one, but I thought these would be perfect for kids' presents. And I've also created a little box to go with it, just in case you wanted to give them as a gift, or you wanted to do a craft fair or anything like that. So these are the little gift tags, the little snowman, they're really cute. And then we've got the design on the outside, and then when you lift that up, you've got the Merry Christmas, and you can just write your message, your to and from, or any little message underneath, but it's all hidden until you want that person to see it. So let's get on and make it. I will go through all the supplies that you're going to need. I'll just pop those to one side. I use, let me just grab it over here, I use the Quilted Christmas DSP, beautiful, all 6x6, 48 sheets. I adore this pack, I've been using it a lot. And the stamp set that we are using is the seasonal Chums stamp set. It is also a gift tag on its own. If you bought the framelets, it cuts out both the front and the back. And it's just adorable. I've actually used the pumpkin on a previous project when I was making something for Halloween, but I'm not going to use the framelets today. All I wanted to use was the front image, so I actually punched him out, so you don't have to use it with the framelets. You can use it on its own as well. I'm going to mix it up a little bit, because I'm going to use this gorgeous little guy here, the reindeer, because he's so sweet. And I want a mix of tags. So I'm also going to be using real red, so going for a colour change as well. And the bits and pieces you're going to need, I've got them cut out already. For the box, it's very quick and easy to put together. So we'll need a piece that measures 5.5 inches by 7.5 inches, and then you need a little piece of DSP that just measures roughly 3/4 of an inch by 2 inches. And then for your gift tags, you will need two, and they need to measure, one of them needs to measure 2 inches by 4 3/8, and the other one measures 2 inches by 3 7/8. And then you need, again, a scrap of DSP, which measures 2 inches by 3/4 of an inch. So when you are cutting up your Whisper White, it's the thick Whisper White cardstock as well that I've actually used for these tags. It just makes a quality tag when you use the thicker paper. So what you would do on your A4 sheet of, let's just got this piece of paper in here, this is just a scrap, but you've got your A4 sheet of paper, and you just want to take 2 inches off the length, and then you'll find if you cut one of these pieces at 3 7/8, the other piece will measure 4 3/8. That's why I've done it there like that, so you can just take the end off. Makes life a lot easier. Then you will also need, for your sentiment, just a scrap of Whisper White, and you will need a scrap of real red just to punch out. So let's just get going. I'll make up the tags first. So you will need, in fact I've already got it mounted up. I have got the reindeer mounted up here. So I want to be doing, in fact I need my scrap, don't I? Let's get my scrap of Whisper White here that I can put my sentiment on. And then I also need, in fact I didn't mention, did I? I'm also using the Merry Christmas as well, just to stamp right at the bottom. And you want to be doing that on your bigger piece of the tag, so we'll do that at the same time. So I've used Memento ink as well. The reason I've used that is because I was going to use a Wink of Stella, and then I decided not to, because I've actually used our beautiful Dazzling Diamonds. When I actually put the Wink of Stella on, it wasn't glittery enough for Christmas, I don't think. So I've just got my Dazzling Diamonds and glued a little bit of glitter on, which I don't know whether you can see that on camera, but it just looks beautiful. So Memento, and then all you want to do is take your ink pad to the item, we only want to ink the front. We don't want to ink both, so just pop that on there and we'll get a nice stamped image. That's lovely. And put him to one side, and then Christmas, Merry Christmas. Make sure it's all linked up properly. You can always check. Always check, actually. It's a very good tip, actually, when you are stamping. Do just check your stamp, because just in case you've got any little bits of ink that you need to get rid of that would actually mark your card. So it's always good practice just to quickly check your stamped, inked up stamp. So that's absolutely fine. So this should be perfect. Now I'm trying to, in fact, I'm going to have to bring it down a little bit because I need to get it right on the edge. I'm going to be lining that bottom of the stamp up with the right at the bottom, because I do need to keep it quite far to the bottom as possible, and I also want to get it lined up. So yeah, so that's perfect. So yeah, just line that up with the bottom. Okay, let's get rid of that. What do I need? I need a couple of punches. So you need your tag topper punch, and you will also need your 2-inch circle punch. Now when you're punching him out, you will notice that you make sure you get the top of his antlers. Now by doing that, you will take a tiny little bit of his hoof, but that doesn't really matter because the bow will actually hide that. So as long as you've got the top of his antler and it's in the middle, you can see that, and then just punch. And then you also want to cut your starburst out as well. This is the starburst. Punch it out, and it layers up beautifully with the 2-inch circle punch. That's perfect. And then we want to punch our tags, don't we? And then what I also like to do is round off my corners. It's not essential, but this is where your envelope punch board really comes in handy, because it's great for rounding off those corners. And I also think it matches the punch as well. So it's my phone bleeping, so as long as it's not ringing like it did before. Okay. So you need your scrap of DSP, and I'm just going to pop it on. If it comes off the side a little bit, that's absolutely fine, because we can just trim that. It's better to be too big than too short. So I'll just grab my Tom. In fact, I'm going to use Fast Fuse, I think, for this. Obviously, haven't got the hang of using it. Then just line it up on one side, and then just snip off anything. If you do need to snip off anything, just take the remainder off. That's obviously just slightly bigger than 2-inch, but as I say, you know, it is better to be slightly bigger, and you can trim and too short. Now we do need Tombow. What have I done with my... Oh, here it is. I'm going to use Tombow for this, and the reason being is because it needs to be accurate, so it just gives me a few seconds to actually move it around if he's not in the dead centre. And then you want some stamping dimensionals on there to layer him up. Just a couple's absolutely fine. And he just needs to sit on around about there, just in the middle. As long as you've got him in the middle, either side there, that's absolutely fine. Stick that down. And then I have used this beautiful ribbon again. It is very Christmassy, so I have been using it rather a lot. It's the silver 1/8 of an inch ribbon, and we're just going to make a bow, and then we're going to stick that on with a mini glue dot. It's really easy to tie bows with this actually. It's beautiful. So get it to the size that you want. Just play around with it and then cut those to length. Put that to one side. Let's get rid of all those. And then I need a mini glue dot. And I need my paper piercer, just to glue that on. Pop that on the back. And then I think it looks really cute down there at the bottom. Just popping it on the DSP. That's really sweet. Now, when I was doing this and putting it together, I thought, oh, you know what? It does look a little bit plain. So I added some really beautiful dazzling diamonds, but I think I'm just going to put the ribbon on. So again, I've used this in my last project. It's the metallic edged ribbon. So just cut a little bit of that off. You don't need much. Put the two together, and as you can see, you can just see that Merry Christmas at the bottom. Use my trusty peg just to hold it together while I'm just tying this. I'm just tying this in a knot. I think because we've got a bow down at the bottom, it really doesn't need another bow. If you weren't adding the bow down at the bottom, then you can probably tie this into a bow. But I think it's just absolutely fine like this. Get rid of that. Tie a knot first and then we can straighten it up. A little bit too much. A bit off, that's about right, and then just clip that to size. And then all I did, let me grab my dazzling diamonds. Where is that? That's here. And I want my Tombow. I just grabbed my Tombow, and where I fancied, like his nose definitely needs to stand out. So whatever you think, really. I'm going to do his antlers as well. You could even colour these in. But I do like to keep my projects quite simple, as you probably noticed. So I'm just going to blob some on his back here and on his hooves, I think. On his hooves. That'd be a good idea to do this before adding the bow. And then I'm going to pop a little bit on his bow. Put a little bow there. There we go. Now when you order your dazzling diamonds. In fact, I've got the pot over here. It actually comes in a little pot like this, and it's just, in fact, this is the silver one. I've got the dazzling diamond one over there because actually today I've emptied all my pots into these Tupperwares. It just saves so much time and mess. And these aren't expensive. Anything like this, I think it works out to be about 10-15 pence each, to be honest. And I think you can buy them in bulk. So you can let it go a little bit tacky before putting this on. That's all you'd have to do. It's great fun. As I say, it does go everywhere if you're trying to just pour your pot over. So see that? It's beautiful. And then I also have, I always keep handy like a little dry paintbrush. So when I am embossing or glitter, anything that I'm glittering, and I've got bits where I don't want it, instead of wasting it, I can actually tidy it up. There we go. Put that away before I spill it everywhere. And there you go, that's your gift tag. I'm not going to put it in the box because it needs to dry. So when you have glued it, you just need to leave it till it's totally dried. So I'm going to put that one over there. I've made a couple earlier, so I'm going to put them all in the box. I'll put them in this box, but I would probably make 6 of one design. I'll put those in there. Put those at the back. As you can see, there's room for another one in there, so you can get at least 6. You might even get 8, to be honest, in the box, if you wanted to totally fill it. So let's just get on and quickly make up the box. Just show you very quickly. Just bring in my scoreboard. So you need your 5.5 by 7.5. So let's score it on the short side first of all. I hope you can see that. So I know last week when I was watching back my video, you couldn't see it. So I do apologise. So hopefully you're going to be able to see this one. So the bottom is just scored at 1.25 inches. And then turn it to the long side, and you want to score it at 2.25, 3.5 inches, 5.75. That's right, 5.75, and then 7 inches. And also, before we finish, in fact, if I turn it that way round, we're going to do a bit more cutting just to create this shape at the front. It's going to be this piece here. So you've got your long, your little skinny bit there. So you want to keep that bit, but you want to get rid of 1 inch. You could measure it by ruler, but it's just as quick to pop it back on and then just gently run your stylus, and then you've got a guide there for actually cutting. But it's just as easy to do it with a pencil and ruler. In fact, look, if I do the rest, you could just measure 1 inch down, and then you also want to cut. We're going to have you could do this with scissors, you don't even have to do this, but we're also going to cut this at an angle as well, so we're going to cut that away. So I'm putting my pencil on the edge there where I'm cutting, and it's just going to this point here, and then we can just burnish all of our score lines. Really quick to put together, and it's worth doing if you're going to give them as a gift, or you are going to do a Christmas craft fair. It's always a bit nicer to put them in a box. As I say, it doesn't take long at all, and it doesn't really take that much cardstock. You can get a couple of these. So we want to cut off, as usual, the little skinny bit at the bottom. Cut up here. Cut up here. And cut up here. Ooh. And then we need to cut. You just follow the pencil marks, or if you've got some really long scissors, you can do it in one go. And to that point there, and then you can just cut that off as well. And it's about an inch. You know what, either way, it doesn't really matter. There we go. If you've got any pencil marks, you could actually just rub them out. I'm just going to use fast fuse again. That's going to go like that. So let's just get some. It's not working brilliantly. This is I think it's running out. Coming to the end of its life, I think. Just seal that very quickly like that. And then I want that's going, because that's the front, I want this bit to go to the back like that. Actually, you know what, it's working a little bit better now. Get a little bit. There we go. And there we go, and that's your box. I mean, you would need to do yourself another, just pop another little bit of DSP on there, a little bit more ribbon, but it's just the same as we've done the tags. So let's just put them in there like that. I'll get another one done and pop it on my blog, I think, when I've actually done it. But hopefully you like that project. If you do, do go over to my shop. I'll list everything that I've actually used on there. If you do like my video, do like and subscribe to my YouTube channel as well. And if you have any questions, do leave me a comment. I'm always happy to help. And that's the end of that project. I hope you will be joining me for my next one. Okay, thank you very much.